Hey everybody, it's Susan with Pumpkin Hill Stampers. I've got a quick, I think, Stampin' Show and Tell for you today. We're going to make this a fun card. It's pretty straightforward stamping. We're going to do some texture stamping. We're going to mask off our flowers a little bit. We're going to create this great focal point for our greeting. And I'm going to put it all together for you right now. So sit back and enjoy while I go through the steps, and hopefully you'll pick up something new that you can try in your projects. Today we are going to be using the You've Got This stamp set, which is a 2-box set. It comes with this great texture stamp and then this fun flower. And then I'm also using Thankful Thoughts as my greeting. I'm doing a swap with other demonstrators, which is a Thank You card swap, so that is going to fulfill my need for that swap. I'm using Peekaboo Peach and Old Olive for this card, for the sample that I made first, and then I'm putting it on a basic white Whisper white card for sending it out. So let's go ahead and get started. So first things first, I have another set here. So I have my white card base. Okay. This time I'm not using the Old Olive. This one I have a different piece of green scrap that I had on my table, and I've already die cut my scallop oval out of that, and I'll show you why in just a minute. But first we're going to start by stamping the background stamp. So I have my Peekaboo Peach cardstock, and I'm opening up my Peekaboo Peach ink, so I'm stamping color on color, and I'm just going to ink up this texture stamp. We're going to stamp this a few times, overlapping. I think it's a fun texture to use. So without a whole lot of where do I lay it and which direction, I'm just stamping it down. And I'm going to do this multiple times, and I'm going to kind of overlap my edges. You could ink or not re-ink depending on how strong of a color overlay you want in all your spots. You could huff it to re-moisten it a little. So see how it's darker and lighter in some areas? So I think that's a fun technique to do with this stamp set. A fun way to get some texture without having to do embossing necessarily. So a good old-fashioned ink technique. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to take my Archival black ink and I'm going to stamp the greeting. Now you might think, wait, your card looks like you would do the greeting last. Well, we're actually going to do it right now, and I'm going to tell you why. So let's see. Yeah, we'll do it on the bottom here. So I'm going to ink up my greeting, and I'm going to stamp it down here near the bottom. And I'm going to try to put it more or less in the middle, because I'm going to go ahead and cut that oval right out of that section of cardstock. Okay, I said I was going to show you why I had already pre-cut the scallop oval. When we get done, this is going to be a layer on our card, right? So that's not going to be seen because this is going to go over the top. So you can save yourself some cardstock by taking your pieces out of what you're using. So I've got that one, and then I'm going to cut this one on the big shot. So by putting it right there in the center, when I end up putting it back on my card, and I'll pop it up with the other oval, you won't know, or the person you send it to won't know that you've stolen that piece right out of the center of your main piece. So let me bring the big shot in. Now this does shake my table a little bit, so bear with me while I work on this die cut. So I'm just going to put my cardstock right on my cutting plate here, and I'm positioning my stitch shape oval over that, and then we're just going to run that through, and it's going to give me that die cut with stitched edge around the perimeter. So a little way to add some detail without actually adding a whole lot of thickness to the card. I like that stitched frame just for that reason. Okay, so I pop that out. So when we start putting our layers together, which is not yet, we got to do our flower still, but see, that's going to go there, and then this is going to go right over the top of that hole, and this is going to go on top of that, So no one will know any wiser that we've stolen those pieces out of those two layers, other than you and me. So we didn't have to cut any extra cardstock. So just by taking a quarter sheet of those two colors and cutting them down to size, I'm also able to get that label out of it. So that's kind of nifty, I think. A good way to save some resources. Okay, so now let's stamp our flowers. So I did say we were going to mask. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the back of my piece here, and I'm going to cover the bottom because I don't want all these stems to be showing. So to keep that a little bit neater, we'll do that. So now I'm just going to ink up my stamp, and I'm going to stamp one off here to the left. Now, masking. I just have a post-it note. Okay, this is the sticky part. I stamped my flower on there and I just trimmed out the edge. And so now you just put that over the first flower that you stamped. And as you can see, I've used it multiple times. So I said I was doing a swap, so I had to make multiple copies. So I've got my first one, and now I'm just going to go right over and stamp my other one. And I have a second one cut out on a post-it note. So I just keep layering my masks until I'm done, and I'm going to do one more near the top, poking off the top of those two. And then we'll have a nice clean image when I remove the masks. See, I don't have all those stems messing up, and I don't have any overstamped images. Everything's clean. It looks like they're all layered up. So that's another fun and pretty easy technique to do. Okay, you just have to take some time in stamping and cutting out the masks on post-it notes. So it's worth it. And then I just stick these post-it notes right into my stamp set box, because post-it notes are pretty resilient with those stickies, and you can use them again. So, at least for a while, but they're not hard to make new ones. Okay, so let's go ahead and put our layers together. So I'm just going to snail the green and the peach together. I always add my adhesive to the back of the stamped layer. And I'm going to flip that over so we've got the clean edge. Now I'm just going to center that like so. Okay. Now I'm going to add this layer with dimensionals to my card base just to give it a little bit of lift, because we're not adding any kind of ribbon or thick embellishment on this card. It's really a pretty straight paper ink stamp kind of card, but we've used two great techniques, the texturing stamp and the masking of our flowers. So that's just going to go on the center there. And then I'm going to just snail my two labels together. And you could either snail this down or you could add dimensionals to pop this up as well. And because all of this got mounted onto our card base, no one's going to know that we stole those out of there. See, when I open my card, you can't tell that we've taken any of that out. And there we go. Now, if you want a little bit of bling, and you don't want to add rhinestones or something to the card, which would be great. We also have those fun Tutti Frutti self-adhesive sequins right now, which I think are Peekaboo Peach. Those could go on there. I'm just going to add Wink the Stella. So, and I'm only going to add it to like the center of the flower here. So it's not everywhere. It's just a little bit of shine, shimmer and shine on those. So, and that's it. We're done. So I hope you enjoyed our little project today. Like I said, I did do this first swap. I try to keep my swaps where they're pretty easy to duplicate. The idea is that, you know, we can show them off to different customer groups and show them the different things they can do with their sets. So that's a pretty fun one to do with a group. It shows you how to use your cardstock maybe a little more wisely, so you can stretch it a little bit farther. And for those who get worried about their cards being too thick, it's a really fun card to have all that texture going on, but you don't have a whole lot of thickness. So there we go. If you want the details for these projects, as always, subscribe to the Show and Tell newsletter that comes out on Tuesday. The link is below. And of course, you know, subscribe here to YouTube, follow me. I try to post something new every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I hope you're enjoying the projects I'm sharing, and I'd love to hear some feedback. So I guess that's it for all today. Have a great weekend and do some fun stamping. All right, everybody. Thanks, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.